Hello there YouTube, and welcome back to the channel once again here today for another movie. Today we're watching Ghost in the Shell, Kokaku Kido Tai, of course, rolls right off the tongue, and we're very excited to be jumping in here to something a little bit new, something I have scarce experience with. If this is one of your first videos on the channel, hello, hi, I react to anime. I like to have a little bit of a better look than most, I like to say, and today we're watching a movie. It's from the 90s. It's a very famous sci-fi film. Its reputation almost precedes it, and it's a shock that I haven't seen it. It is one of the classics. Should have plenty of canvas space for me to do some analysis after all this is said and done. If I pop over here, I can actually go to my favorite website in the world and get started on talking about a few things. If OBS wants to hide itself as well, that would be wonderful. Thank you. And there it is. Very famous poster. Very famous everything. We'll have a quick look at the staff here, and I don't really even know how much there is to glean from this visual. Sometimes I'll look at a visual, but I don't really think it's particularly necessary here. I'd rather just jump in and start watching. But I guess a little bit of background. What do I know about Ghost in the Shell? Surprisingly, not a lot, considering, again, its reputation and everything. I think it's about androids? Maybe? I think? It's at least delving towards that transhumanist kind of Blade Runner-ish cyborg type area, I think. I know that animation production is also by Production IG, and I know that it came out in the mid-90s, and I knew that the director was one Mamoru Oshii, who I do have a little bit of I guess experience with on the channel. If we pop over here to the CV, that would be one Angel's Egg. I have reacted to it in the past. I thought it was stellar. That it was very good. Very opaque, gave you a lot of space to reflect whatever you took away from it. Didn't have a lot of dialogue. It kind of thought-provoking, like genuinely, not just, you know, there's a bit of a filler phrase there. It actually made me think about things. What did we get to there? Like gender, like religion, the human condition, our insignificance in the grand scheme of things. Just a whole lot of cool ideas there for sure. And it's animated beautifully to boot. Very well directed. As for other Mamoru Oshii things, I know Patlabor is a thing. I have no experience there. Heard some pretty recent news about it though, coming back or so. I don't know, I didn't really look into it. Also, Learning Now has a rather large role on Urusei Yatsura in the early 80s, probably where we're getting a lot of our starting momentum before, again, stuff like Angel's Egg through the mid to late 90s, or not 90s, 80s. I'm at least aware of Blood the Last Vampire, as well as Jinro the Wolf Brigade, another thing which, is definitely on the short list of movies that I should do at some point. If I was to say like a triumvirate of things that a lot of the staff here have worked on, it's like Jinro, it's Patlabor, and it's Urusei Yatsura. They're kind of all following each other around. And again, these dudes have been around for ages. Names like Kazunori Ito should be at least relatively famous. Dot Hack here as well for those sickos. Even working on the script for Norska. You learn something new every day. Creamy Mommy too, it's all happening, for sure. But yes, the aforementioned Patlabor and Urusei Yatsura here. I should mention that this is the script/screenplay, I believe. Yes. I guess that's another one to bring up. I didn't know that this was a manga adaptation. I thought it was an original. The manga itself, I believe, is relatively short. Yeah, am I reading that right? Has 346 pages. Obviously, again, we expand out from there and do a bunch of stuff, but originally just a, you know, the scope's pretty small there. Looking at this design here, it reminds me that Science Saru is doing an adaptation, actually. I forgot about that until right this moment, so there is more Ghost in the Shell on the horizon. Next up, art director Hiramasa Ogura. Once again, Jinro there, the main one that I'm looking there for. Lots and lots of work here, background art and art direction work both. Yeah, there's some weird pics here, man. For sure. Relatively recent stuff. I don't know, I'm treating like the 1990s like they were fucking 55 years ago. It's not really the case. I guess there's another one to shout out too. Art director work on Fully Coolly. Done that on the channel as well. Very cool art there for sure. And the last one here I'll talk about, Hiroyuki Okiura, doing the character designs. Again, it's a manga adaptation obviously, so there is a prior person there designing the characters. But again, this version of the major, iconic. So thought that we would shout it out there. I guess that's another thing. She's called the Major Kusaragi? Kusanagi, there you go. Once again, you learn something new every day. So again, small shout out there. The usual suspects here too. Jinro and Pat Labor. Can you tell that sometimes when I do the older stuff, I'm a little bit out of my depth? Haven't seen as much of the 90s, 80s stuff as I probably should have. Likewise, running my eyes over the voice acting staff there, not seeing any particular names that I recognize, but again, I am bad at this. So, what to expect? I'm expecting something pretty hard sci-fi, dystopian potentially. Maybe in our new AI, I don't know what you would call it, disaster verse we live in. Maybe it'll be a little bit eye-opening. I watched Lane on the channel as well, and that kind of made me think, oh shit, they fucking predicted a lot of this shit, for sure. It felt like it was ahead of its time. I wonder if I'll have similar things to say here. Also, I don't know why, but I'm getting Akira vibes. I think there's a few people that have worked on Akira, but those are two pretty distinct, like 80s and 90s sci-fi things. Two of the most famous anime films ever, mind you, but still, like, they're different things. I don't know why I associate the two. Once again, Akira done on the channel, thought it was great also, so lots and lots of shout-outs here today. I guess another thing that I should mention is continuity and stuff. So the way I understand it is there's like 3 different sets of continuity, and there was some scuttlebutt here and there of if you should watch Standalone Complex first, or this, or something else, and I'm like, I think it's best to just default to release order whenever these kind of things happen. And this is the first anime thing that came out, so I might as well watch it. Did also learn within that same continuity that there is sequel movies to this, right? Hang on, I'll get this back and you can see there's a sequel film. It's called Innocence. This is currently not in the plans, but I haven't seen the first one yet. If the first one blows my socks off, then this can become part of the plan. Likewise with Standalone Complex. If I like what I see, then I'm going to be more inclined to push things to be watched more, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I am expecting to like it too. What did we do here when we were over with Mamoru Oshii? 100% Blade Runner is like one of my favorite films. So if it's at least similar to Blade Runner at all, then awesome, great. That's nothing but a good thing. A ringing endorsement, of course. And just thought I'd mention it too because I thought it was funny. He has over 8,000 hours in Fallout 4. I saw that in the news cycle as of recently, and I thought that was quite funny. Like, what are you doing, man? I don't know, you gotta do something, I guess. Shoutouts Fallout 4. Either way, I believe this thing's about 80 minutes too, so it's not as long as some of the stuff I've been doing recently. Just a brisk walk in the park compared to some of that stuff, so yeah, great. While we're here, let's shout out the patrons, of course. The channel wouldn't be alive in its current state the way it is without them. They're currently watching this video 1 week before you, and I'm also doing more movies as well. So if you're into this kind of thing, potentially check out the Patreon, linked in the description below. You can see what I'm doing next week. I think from the 2 that I have currently left in my head that I think I'm going to do, they're both kind of really good. You're probably gonna like what you see there. Like last week, Colors Within, that was for me, but I'm picking some like heaters for the rest of them for sure. That as well as Musume or Ping Pong the Animation, if you are, passionate about either of those, potentially you want to give the Patreon a look as well. Once again, thank you to my patrons, starting here with Sean, Ace Lightning, Ada, Akomancer, Alchemy, Astivif, Uvdifuf, Bananarama Hamadama-sama, BD422, Botero, Brendan M. Gibbons, Brett Jones, Caitlin, Capella, Choberibi, Copley, Cure Dynamic, Dakota, Dapper Dwarf, Diark Lord, Dorke Hyo, Ed, Eric Algelius, Fancy Question Mark, Fried Rice, Fruit, Frozen Fox, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Hayato138641, Hans Peter, Hibiki Tachibana, I. Bailey, Ika, Intaz Students, Iria, J. Cambion, Yako Yavanen, Jacob R., Jeff Solis, Joran, Kasogtha, Clem, Lexi, Lick H., Lucas Carulius, Lou, Lupe Ferrugia, Maddock the Doppelganger, Master Detective, Matthew Bratcher, Matthew Mortlock, Mickey Babbers, Miru, Mistake Yel Chen, Molly Weinberger, Mr. Maniacs, Murmurine, Nature Without Man, Pencilshop 333, Platinum Fighter, Pyack, St. Lily, Sam1373, Samuel Guerrero, SGM Janus, Shiny Haxorus, Skeleton, Tentacle Member, Terrence, Tobias Dale Christensen, Waifu Overdose Without a Net, Binshi, Jummy Boo, Kelvin, Ronlad BNK, Hamiyaz, and Luigi Mario 3939. Thank you very much to my patrons. Thank you for the support. Let's dive in here. Sci-fi, 1990s, anime, Ghost in the Shell. Let's put it on. Let's go. And there we have it. Ghost in the Shell up there ready to go. 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 54 seconds on this one. Sync up accordingly with your own copy. And before I do any of that, let's pop over here. Let's have a discussion. So my version, it's called Kawatare, or at least that's the uploader, so get that version if you'd like my exact version. These are the subtracks that are available for me on that version. I'm going to go original translation Japan. I believe this is just the Blu-ray. As with all things, there are a lot of opinions. People like the new translation for reasons, people like the old translation for reasons, people like this fan sub judgment track for other reasons as well, and I didn't really see a consensus. And honestly, it's hard to research such things without, again, getting into spoilerish territory. I think keeping official and original is the best way to go. If for some reason I don't understand anything or whatever, I'm going to clarify it after the fact, of course. Obviously reading some story summaries and whatnot. I could even try to re-experience certain scenes with another translation. So again, this one. That's the current plan. Seems like it works okay. Obviously, again, audio track is also the Japanese, the sub and not the dub. This would probably be worth a listen as well. Bit of a commentary track here too. Very cool. Anyway, I digress. Get me out of here. Back over here. Again, if you don't want to deal with getting your own copy at all, there's a picture-in-picture version in the description below for your viewing pleasure. Access that at your will. I think we should just give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Radio? 3, 2, 1, go. Uh-huh. It's a cool line. Countries and races are not yet obsolete. Yeah, cool start. Very cool start. So again, like, kind of like a military police angle, I guess. There she is. Yeah, she's so cool. Espionage. Heh. Oh. Sure. This reminds me of something straight out of Cyberpunk. Both obviously the Trigger anime there as well as the video game. It's clear to see where they get the inspiration from, right? Kind of want to turn this up a little bit. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Oh, yo. That's sick too. Hmm. All very red tapey, isn't it? Oh shit! Way! Was he had a bunch of bullshit inside him. Catch me if you can. Oh, that sound effect too. Ghost in the Shell. Explosive start. Indeed. Yeah, I love the mix here. Got all that kind of muscle and like sinew, and then obviously like the exoskeleton stuff. Great mix. Good designs. It's kind of like the womb. A lot of interesting ideas. A lot of classic ideas. Like it feels like I'm seeing the almost like the birthplace of these ideas where I've seen them implemented elsewhere. Sorry, I stuttered a little bit. I'm distracted. A lot of tits and ass early, for sure. Interesting. It almost felt like an egg or something where like breaking, like that person's breaking out of that shell, that outer layer. The music's an interesting choice too. The kind of choir vocals of it all. Well, not even. They're kind of like, I don't even know, like a chorus, I guess you would call it. So, one question: are we being reborn, or is this the birth? And we're going back. Again, we'll learn in time. Also, dude, the text, the green numbers on the background there, very Matrix, which predates Matrix too, right? Holy jawline too. Yeah, that dream sequence, gotcha. Imagine remembering your own birth like that. Very Blade Runner this. Gonna put a bra on or just letting it all hang? Fair enough. It's your prerogative. Also, yeah, I meant to say, love opening credits too. Such a tone setter. Albert Einstein. A lot of proper nouns. Okay. Very political. And the idea of sections, too. Some power plays, throwing our weight around, too. A lot of layers there in that scene. So it seems the general gist on a plot level. We've got a guy who's hacking into people's brains. And what is a ghost, too? Interesting. Okay, you're way more switched on about it than I am. Interesting. Zastaba. Uh-huh. Okay, there's some exposition. Almost completely human. Seems that everybody has some level of augments. That's another one, Deus Ex. Reminds me of that. They're all kind of pulling from similar places, for sure. Interesting. Oh, poor dog. Really nice programmer, eh? Well, I know of another programmer in the plot. Expected to hack from. Why are you being... Well, there we go. That would be the garbage truck we just passed. Because, yeah, it was all about that telephone terminal. Ooh. Whoa! Okay, that's cool as shit. Yeah, so this is when she goes into, like, surveillance mode almost. And, like, these trash guys, they're being manipulated, right? It's like, oh, this nice hacker gave me this thing. There he is again. Yeah. I didn't see this trash man story coming, no. Not from the start. That guy's like, what the fuck? I mean, I don't want to be chased down by her and, like, shot at. The glasses are crazy. Whoa! Okay. I like the power of his gun, too. Yeah. We'll talk about that as a metaphor later. Oh! You can kind of see his shadow a little bit. If you're still alive. Are they good in there? And there goes the Major. Cool shot. Ah, classic. This is giving me like Jason Bourne or like James Bond or something. Like disappearing into the crowd. Yeah, some of the backgrounds, it's like walled city almost. And very well animated. Love this. They're selling this like location so well. Don't shoot into the crowd, bro. The cat was interested though. My cabbages. So like the melon juice in the it's almost like blood. Cool. Bulletproof as well. Okay. Whoa. Cool predator shot. I wouldn't take the coat off, man. She'll get ya. Because all the cinematography right now is telling me that you're in a bit of strife. How close is the airport? Seriously, I could do like this cyberpunk dystopian thing forever though. It's so cool. Oh my god, what a shot. Teleports behind you. So how the fuck did she do that? The water should be a good actual place to hide. Amazing. It's so cool. So what I loved there is she's not making any splashes in the water. It's almost like she's walking on top of it. And she got her kid off again. She keeps doing that. Interesting. We're gonna murder you. What's happening now? I see. He was a puppet the entire time. And you don't know your own ghost. Well, there's no ghost left there, I think they said. It's early days, obviously. Ghost is like a conscience? Like another part of your psyche? But may also have some practicality. It's that one guy from Invincible. 28? That's a hard 28. Wee wee. Don't look at me like that. Implies that he knows that he's being watched. Oh. So no wife, no daughter, no nothing. That's why we didn't see it. Well, show me. Whoa. What the dog doing? Everything is a lie? Correct. Reality is perception. How does that make you feel? Again, in this world where so much is supposedly fake, like what even is real? And you want to like hold on to it when you find it almost. But even then, I'm the best like narrator for that. The best judge of what's real. It's a cool sequence too, very trippy. Yeah, I love the colors. Red pill, blue pill. What are we doing here, though? Spare time. Can she have one scene where she keeps her clothes on? Who am I kidding? Come on, I love it. Diving's very interesting. Got my work cut out for me, for sure. Like, so much, like, under the surface and emerging, like, back up out of. Yeah, why don't you do it? Huh. Hmm. Right. What are they hearing? There's a ghost. Check the shell. Weird. Great scene, though. Could argue a little bit clumsy and it's not particularly elegant, but I think the idea is more to make up for it. Like, how much of me is, like, my career in all of this, too? Yeah, I can quit Section 9, but can I? Like, literally so much of me literally belongs to them. Again, like this, like, end point of capitalism, basically. Huh. I'm seeing shit. It's kind of really dreamy. Pacing's weird too. Not in a bad way though. See what I mean? Normally in like the cadence you would have picked up on another scene by now, but we haven't. We're really letting these like almost like intermissions between scenes sit. This is where it's most similar to Angel's Egg, in my view. Like even then, all the kids with the same umbrella. Think about it. Uniformity. It's a crazy reflection too. The ad is literally chasing me down. Subtle. Holy calves. Yes, ma'am. Huh. Says that person from the start, is it? I was too busy tripping balls. Holy fuck. Okay, that's unnerving. Whoa, okay, that's awesome. That's precise. Not the woman from the start. Gotcha. How's that possible? You seem very cheery about it. Yeah, how could you give a ghost to... Can they? Hmm. Well, he could get any one of us. Yes, sir. I don't know about all that. That little voice we heard when we were on the boat before, that's very interesting now too. Well, I'd be a bit scared. Somebody could take over me? Huh. Uh-huh. Okay. Hmm. I don't know if that's going to fly with what we want to do. Very official vehicles. Dr. Willis. Mm-hmm. Seems all above board. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Somebody else coming in too. Door was open for a little longer than we thought. Pressure sensor. He's thorough. He's heavy. Okay. Well, yeah, that's for certain. I like that scene there because of how procedural it was, but also it's based off his hunch, which is a huge element. That's like a human element to it, you know? He's got fingers on his fingers. He's him. Indeed, I thought so. So there is a ghost in there. Because he killed his real body, his real... Oh. Will that hold up in a court of law? Okay, dude. Checkmate, atheist. Okay, so it's all fucking happening. Are they real? Are they not real? Does it matter? All those kind of real navel-gazy questions. Where are we? Midpoint? Bit after. Oh, it's like a DeLorean. Cool. It's the doors. I still got wheels. Also, his costuming's very funny. What was on that? It's a tracking device, right? Yeah. Wait, what did I do? Whatever I think is going on is always just wrong. They were playing like fucking 8D chess in there. Think she may have a bit more personal investment there. And that's what we're talking about with the pressure pads too. We've got an abductor. It's interesting for sure. I think it has something to do with the major. This song rips too. Very Blade Runner. And another one of these scenes where we're almost like catching our breath again. Because let's be honest, this thing's pretty intensive. They're dropping you in the deep end for sure. So just giving you a little bit of time to decompress here, it's a great idea. That's fucked as well. God, the architecture too. So cool. Certainly seems that way. That's what it feels like. Like they were doing some sus shit and it got away from them. Yeah. Could have guessed that one. My man's locked in as hell. Peak gaming form. A little bit of a hunch. Old Town. It's another really cool shot. Like the layers there. Whoa! Hey, hey, hey! Yeah, man, that's crazy. Yeah. You guys went hard, man. Shosa. Stole my frickin' car. She may not be all there mentally today. I'll just bring that up. There's a lot going on. The flood. Oh yeah, really, really cool setting. Angel's egg a little bit too with the fish. And this scene here too taking place on like the precipice between like the city and the ocean and all that stuff about the ocean and diving before. Love the rain as an element too. The flood. It's ideas, 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 man, for sure. What the fuck? The hell am I looking at there? It's like a tank or something. Because now the glass is going to fall on them? Yeah. Spider tank. I thought it was like an animal or something. I was very confused. Defying orders. Loose cannon. This feels very video gamey too. It's like a boss fight or something. It's a cool mech design too. It's almost Star Warsy. Okay, she's got fucking... She's cool. It's got aura. So it's got eyes. Oh, he's kind of cute. Okay, maybe not that cute. Dude, the chunks out of the pillar there. The music choice here, man. That doesn't sound like... You might need to get out of here, man. Why are there bones? Are we in like a museum or something? Yeah, something like that. Uh-huh. Okay. I'm gonna get fucking naked again. You can't stop me. I see. I now know why she got naked. Holy... She's fucking yoked. Oh, ew. Ah. Get out of there? I need a hero? Hero! What is it? It's like a fucking... It's got a bazooka. Well, that was sick too. No? You're still going in? She's insane. Both are Class A bodies. What are we going to learn here? It's a little bit of both. Yeah. But why? So... Correct. Weird. We've like picked her out of a crowd. Scary. That's my question too. Whoa, what the fuck? And that's where we end things? Maybe. She good? She okay? Where the fuck? I feel like I'm at a, like, psychiatrist office. Something like doing therapy or something. Oh, I see. Uh-huh. Subtle. Whoa, I don't like her movements at all. I guess this is like a stopgap. It's kind of weird looking. Again, it looks like an office. I'll stick around until I get my body back. Or at least a better body. Whoa. The implication there's insane. What are you? Yeah, I thought of something was going on with that voice acting performance, and yeah, that explains it. Well, they did it. The AIs did it. They made a new fucking guy. I think. A little bit on the confusing side for sure. One to the point where I was calling the wrong guy Bato, like, a lot. Anyway. We fixed it up by the end. Oh, that was great. I loved that. Just one that succeeds in like sequences, I think. Like the garbage truck chase and like the ending sequence there, and like kind of these like set pieces are really good, and that's what I'll remember out of it, I think. It definitely feels like it's throwing in the deep end of a larger sci-fi universe for sure, but I don't mind that. It's meant to be kind of overwhelming, especially considering the ideas at play, and that's why I have the next segment too, to take my time and break it down a little bit more. But yeah, big picture ideas. Love all the stuff we're doing with the ocean, of course. Love the concept of a ghost and a shell, and what a ghost in the shell is. Gets very political in spots and very red tapey, where I'm kind of like, yeah, sure. If it justifies what needs to happen, I guess, but like, it's not my favorite part of it, I guess. Wish it allowed me more time to devote to just like, again, talking about these interesting ideas at play. And yeah, just to clarify, like, okay, Section 6 on the hush hush, they were making some bullshit. That bullshit gained self awareness. I don't know. I guess it was skulking around and then was in some Section 9 records and said, hey, that Kusanagi, it seems like a go. Let's go see what she's all about. And then is basically like coordinating everything so that the ending can happen. And again, you have like this point whereby, like, that's like a lot of the mirroring too that we get with her as well. Like, you have, like, arguably neither of the characters there at the end, the puppet master nor the major, are human, quote unquote, naturally. But they live such different lives. Like, she's almost LARPing human, where again, I'm more just like the AI side, and, you know, what are the rights there within that, and, you know, does that change at all once I gain my own shell? And yeah. Now, again, like, I'm very pointedly in this childlike body, this new kind of entity. I look out onto the big world, the new frontier. It's opened for me. That's my takeaway, at least right now. With again, all the room in the world to clarify. Music was really cool, and once again, I really liked, as I said, the cadence of the film, where we took these like times to pause for sometimes 2 or 3 minutes at a time. Just show some visuals. Hey, I know this is a lot. Just kind of look at this stuff and maybe think about things for a little bit. Again, that's where I was getting a lot of my Angel's Egg stuff. If you've never seen Angel's Egg before, it's like those segments in this, but like the whole time, basically, with little in between. Like, the ratio is almost the opposite of like normal scenes to reflection. They were more similar than I thought they'd be, this and Angel's Egg for sure. And just the world, the influence that it has on the rest of the, I don't know, cyberpunk genre maybe, and everything else that encompasses is very clear to see now, for sure. And yeah, that was the film. Very good. I enjoyed myself a lot. It's put me in a bit of a weird headspace though, and it's a little bit daunting to now write about. I will get things wrong. I will continue to get things wrong. I already have. But yeah, that's future me's problem. I'm going to take some time now and write some stuff down. You can join me on the other side and we'll hash it out together. And we're back. It's the next day. I've had time to write a few notes. Not a lot of words in the notes, but a lot of ideas that I want to expound upon. Just want to preface everything here by saying that this one's pretty broad. You can take it in a lot of different directions. I'll be touching on a lot of different areas without outright, creating a video essay. Honestly, again, it's not just that you could create a video essay here in my view, it's that you could create several about different subjects, about different lenses by which to see it all through. And I mean, these are big, philosophical, important ideas, that have been talked about for centuries. Just the most amount of caveats possible that I will miss things and probably not talk about your specific interpretation. Again, think of it much like my video on Angel's Egg, which again was informed by a lot of my own experience and what I brought to the table potentially. And I guess we'll just start here too. So much of this, I don't know, Ghost in the Shell, the name kind of precedes it almost. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that is. It's like, this science fiction like cornerstone, like of the 90s, of the stuff that came before and of the stuff that came after, most certainly. So then I thought, okay, well that will then transcend Mamoru Oshii as a filmmaker. That is not the case. They are intrinsically linked to the point where I would say that this is more of his interpretation of that source material, him bringing what he brings to the table through the application of that original manga. Like, I go into it a little bit later in more detail, but this thing is very different from its source material. It is very different from other adaptations as well. If we're going to talk about potentially the Science Saru one that's coming out this year, you would imagine that's a little bit more in line with the manga based on art style, and but even then, it's probably going to be some other creative's interpretation of these similar ideas. Pardon the pun, but Ghost in the Shell as a narrative seems more like a shell for a ghost, a particular filmmaker, to potentially inhabit and, I don't know, bend to their whim. But yes, in saying that as well, very influential. Watching this in 2026, considering all the other media, sci-fi media that I've consumed in my life that is directly pulling from this 30-year-old film, yeah, probably should have watched this one first. Then a lot of things would have started to make sense. Like, I'm gonna miss stuff, obviously, talking about influences, but I think one of the most obvious is the Wachowskis with Matrix and subsequent films there. Similar themes about existentialism and, conformity, unity, the truth, reality, what we perceive, self-replication even. Lots of very similar stuff there. Even aesthetics, obviously, the green text that we see during the opening credits here, like that is very, like, that directly ties to Matrix. Even from there, you would say that it kind of Ouroboroses with the Animatrix, which is, again, all those, what would you say, like anthology of animated Matrix films. Very good, by the way. Some really, really talented anime filmmakers on it as well. Huge influence there, obviously, for sure. The one that I saw here was Cyberpunk, and I'm not talking about, the genre, I'm talking about the IP. I know it was a role-playing game before that point, but I'm talking the video game. I'm talking the CD Projekt Red game, as well as the anime from Studio Trigger. They're pulling a lot from this, like, almost directly this shot, as well as, again, general themes of being able to hack into another one's body and memory manipulation and all sorts of other nonsense there. I think about something like Psycho Pass as well. I feel like that's another one that is like aping directly off of this here. And again, I've only tangentially touched Psycho Pass, but I believe it's something where they can like predict crime, essentially, before it happens. So that gets into a little bit of like airy-fairy judicial system stuff. But yeah, definitely playing in the same ballpark. Very much aesthetically as well with, again, I believe it's like CIA or police or detectives there. Anyway, hugely influential. And again, the things running into this too, it's pulling influence from a lot of 80s sci-fi, Blade Runner most obviously, but I saw a lot of Escape from New York in here too. A lot of those kind of CG overlay type things. Like it's definitely something that I saw. It's all that goodness, It feels like I was missing a piece of the puzzle, and now this puzzle is just like, oh, right there in the middle. Perfect. Next one up, movie's a little bit strange structurally. It's more esoteric than I thought it would be. Again, a lot more reflective. Similar to Angel's Egg, there are these large swaths here where we just kind of sit with a moment and reflect upon things. I think this one here called Wanda is the most effective. That's where we get that pretty pointed visual now as well of Kusanagi looking up at her own copy. Yeah, there we go. See? Also, I should have been using these judgment subs the entire time, but whoops, fucked that up. That's okay. It's like kind of proper noun, go, 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 action, action, action. Okay, take your breath. Like that's, and I'm a sicko obsessed maniac for this kind of stuff, so I'm gonna notice it. Like it just doesn't traditionally fit 3-act structure, screenwriter's handbook type, storytelling. And that's okay. We're mature adults and we can deal with something that's a little bit more obscure, opaque. It's probably something to be said in adaptation as well, because I believe it's 14-ish manga chapters, 360 pages or whatever I said before. Like, that's a weird amount to adapt into a film, it feels like. I don't know, it kind of feels like you're sitting in between almost 2 levels of scope for your story with that amount of source material, where you would want to make maybe like a 2.5-hour movie and make it like really intricate and do every single scene, or you do something like this, strip back less than 90 minutes and you only hit the important stuff. Anyway, that's enough general musings. Let's get to a few more of the hard facts here. Story, tad hard to follow. 1, I think the subs that I chose were not the best. 2, I think it's also just kind of, it's what it's like. It's just the way it goes sometimes. They throw you in the deep end. It's meant to be a little bit like, okay, you get a view into this world. There's not a ton of exposition early. You're just kind of meant to be like, okay, well, time to have a look. You kind of get that opening few lines, but other than that, you don't get very much at all. Either way, it's probably time for a Wikipedia plot summary. Here we are, Wikipedia. So this is something I've done in the past. If it's, if for some reason this plot summary is not great, I apologize, but it seemed to do the job from what I was reading about it. So, in 2029, with the advancement of cybernetic technology, the human body can be augmented or even completely replaced with cybernetic parts. Another significant achievement is the cyberbrain, a mechanical casing for the human brain that allows access to the internet and other networks. An often mentioned term is ghost, referring to the consciousness inhabiting the body, the shell. This is what I was referring to in the reaction between, again, there's a literal meaning to ghost and shell, as well as, again, a little bit more of a deeper, like inference, right? Like, we're almost disregarding the shell. The shell is disposable. It is something, it's like an eggshell. You'd throw it away, right? The good stuff's in the middle. The good stuff's the ghost. But again, once we're divorcing the human body from consciousness, then it brings in this weird kind of artificial intelligence type question. Again, we'll talk about it more as we continue. So again, some way to get this information across earlier so we're all on the same page in the plot may be appreciated. Either way, Major Motoko Kusanagi, of course, is an assault team leader for Public Security Section 9 of the futuristic New Port City in Japan. Following a request from Nakamura, chief of Section 6, she successfully assassinates a diplomat of a foreign country to prevent a programmer named Data from defecting. This is the opening scene. This is what's happening here, basically. And this all has to do with Project 2501, which obviously is the Puppet Master, which comes back later in the plot. The foreign minister's interpreter is ghost hacked, presumably to assassinate VIPs in an upcoming meeting. Believing the perpetrator to be the mysterious Puppet Master, Kusanagi's team follows traced phone calls that sent the virus. After a chase, they capture a garbage man and thug. However, both are only ghost-hacked individuals with no knowledge of the Puppet Master, so the investigation again comes to a dead end. This is this part, basically, where we're following our garbage men. And once again, structural stuff, right? This is only looking at the Puppet Master arc in the manga. Again, the manga's a little bit more broad than that. It kind of leaves you feeling uneasy by the very end, especially with the, revelations around old mate. Where is he? There. And what his life really was, and how all the memories were implanted and whatnot. You definitely look at somebody like that, and it probably makes the two of you think a little bit, right? Am I really believing and thinking all the things that I'm thinking? Again, I'm, part of Section 9. I'm just a kind of mouthpiece, almost. I'm a piece on the board for them to control. A doll for them to manipulate however they see fit. Are my thoughts, feelings, opinions on these subjects accurately being presented? That's definitely in the subtext for Kusanagi's character, you would say. It's why, again, against direct orders, she does what she does during the finale. There is a desire there that is outside of what, her overseers would like her to do. So from here in the summary, we do skip this scene, which I think is actually crucial. Again, it's more of a thematic and characterful scene rather than it being plot relevant. I understand why they skip over it, but still wanted to mention that it's here. It's also good pacing. Again, I rail on about this stuff a lot, but this is kind of like action. Okay, find some stuff out, big revelations. Okay, think on that. Reflect. Here's a bit more of a quieter scene for you to do so. Straight after that, you then have the wandering section too. Hey, those ideas that we just spoke about here right at the very end, like actual just philosophy stuff, now think about that some more. Before from there, picking back up on our actual story with Megatech Body and, the Puppet Master and whatnot. Very much a film of two halves in that way. I don't know if you can see it down here, but that's about at the 40-minute mark. So it's like, okay, first half is kind of this garbage men stuff. Second half, that's kind of where you get to the good stuff. I think I talk about it a bit later too, but that's maybe a misgiving. I think the second half of this film is a lot stronger than the first, even though, again, I think this action segment's really good, and the kind of diving per se. Either way, Megatech Body, a shell manufacturer with suspected close ties to the government, is hacked and assembles a shell. The shell escapes the factory onto the highway and gets run over by a truck. As Section 9 examines the shell, they find a human ghost inside it. Unexpectedly, Section 6's Department Chief Nakamura arrives to reclaim the shell with a permit from a foreign minister. He claims that the ghost inside is the Puppet Master himself, lured into the shell by Section 6. The shell reactivates itself, claims to be a sentient being, and requests political asylum. After the puppet master initiates a brief argument about what constitutes a human, a camouflaged agent accompanying Nakamura starts a diversion to steal the shell. This is kind of this whole part here where we're like umming and ahhing about, what's your purpose? Are you real? And then, the body gets all stolen. I do really want to praise, because I don't think I talk about it again, really love this scene here with not Bato. I called him Bato, but he's not. His investigation stuff here is very procedural. I really liked it. Having suspected foul play, Kusanagi's team is prepared and immediately pursues the agent. Meanwhile, Section 9 researches Project 2501, which was mentioned earlier by the Puppet Master, and finds a connection with Data, whom Section 6 tries to keep from defecting the country. Facing the discovered information, Daisuke Aramaki, the chief of Section 9, concludes that Section 6 created the Puppet Master for various political purposes and now seeks to reclaim the body that it currently inhabits. Cool. This is the part that confused me the most. I'm happy that it's all just clarified now. So this guy Data, he's working on Project 2501. They don't want him out because they've actually created something that's pretty fucked up and they don't want it releasing out into the world that they were the ones that did it, basically. We've got this AI that's very sentient, and it was probably like a glitch, a bit of a bug that made it that way. It's all very hush-hush. It's espionage stuff. So we want to clean up our mess and be as quiet as possible about it. I think Project 2501 getting tied up with Section 9 is a, symptom of Kusanagi being there and it being like, oh, we may be kindred spirits in a way, right? Hence why then Nakamura and his lackeys need to come in and then reclaim it. Kusanagi at this point in the plot is also now following her heart as well as her orders, which, are to retrieve this body, are to get it back and at least have a bit of a look. But again, I think mostly her heart. She is curious about what, we were espousing here. What the robot body was going on about. Yeah, all this stuff, right? You were curious, so you're like, okay, well, now I want to find out more. I want to pick their brain. That's why when we go here, right, we do a big battle scene, there's more on the line than you just accomplishing your duty. It's something that you want deep down within yourself. It's a desire. Kusanagi follows the car carrying the shell to an abandoned building where it is guarded by a heavily armed and armored robotic tank. Anxious to face the Puppet Master's ghost, Kusanagi engages the tank without backup, resulting in her shell being mostly dismembered. Her partner, Bato, arrives in time to save her and helps her connect the brain to the Puppet Masters. The Puppet Master explains to Kusanagi that he was created by Section 6 while wandering various networks. He became sentient and began to contemplate his existence, deciding that the essence of life is reproduction and mortality. He wants to exist within a physical brain that will eventually die. As he could not escape Section 6's network, he had to download himself into a cybernetic body. Having interacted with Kusanagi without her knowledge, he believes she is also questioning her humanity and that they have much in common, proposes merging their ghosts. In return, Kusanagi would gain all of his abilities. Kusanagi agrees to the merge. But before anything super crazy can happen, there's a bullet. The bullet comes down and fucking smashes their brain. But as we see here, Bato protects the brain, just in time to save her head. Because I believe the idea with Kusanagi at the moment is that she's kind of just a brain. Like the rest of her is cybernetic. So okay, we merged, I kept her brain, she is alive in essence, but she is changed, she is altered by the end of things. Wakes up in Bato's safe house in a child-sized shell. She tells Bato that the entity within her is neither the Major nor the Puppet Master, but a combination of both. She promises Bato that they will meet again, leaves the house, and wonders where to go next. I think that's pretty succinct. It also reminds me, like the child-sized shell. Like that's very much like Rebirth. Like I've come, full circle, and with this new combination, I'm this new entity now. Albeit I am still a doll, and seen in my infancy, that just means I have room to grow, right? We look on that town in that kind of ending shot, right? We look out onto everything, and it's like filled with like, where do I go next? Adventure. It's like I'm playing a goddamn open world game or something. The possibilities are endless, and again, that's a good end point for the film. Gets your mind racing about what would be, if this is the next step in evolution almost, then like, what does that mean? I know there's a sequel movie. Maybe it goes into it. Potentially. I don't know. Maybe it just ruptures the very nature of this society. And that's the story, everybody. I think it's pretty okay. It's not the best structured story in the world. I've kind of been into that, but the ideas are there. They're strong enough. I think their presentation could use work. Once again, don't know how much is the subbing and how much is me just not getting it because I'm already going through a language barrier as well. I don't know. This is where we'll spend meat of the discussion, I feel. What did it all mean? Cool. Let's establish a few things. What is a ghost? Say I'm a ghost in the show right now. This form that I'm moving around and doing all this with, that's my shell. The me, the one that wrote all this shit down and is speaking to you about what I think about Ghost in the Shell, that's my ghost. You watching this video, I would imagine that you, in your own self, have a ghost and a shell, right? And that's where we get to Descartes, and I think therefore I am, you know, right? Like, if it was just me as a body without the ghost, I'd be like an inanimate object. I'd be a dead body, essentially, right? My brain is the thing that tells my heart to keep going to pump blood so that fucking necrosis doesn't happen and I don't fucking disintegrate. If I didn't have my brain in there, then it would all go to shit. How can I be sure that my shell is real? How can I be sure that, you know, this isn't part of a larger simulation that I'm in, you know, by a higher power, whether it be a developer, a god, the devil, anybody, right? Well, one thing for certain is that I know that I can think, and I think, therefore I am. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy in like maxim almost. It's like, if I'm even considering this, then I'm not a bot. I'm a functional member, right? But this is where it starts to get hazy, right? Through the erosion of the connection between shell and ghost, this question comes into focus more and more and more. Okay, well, what if it was just a ghost now and I was just a brain in a jar? Would I still be me? Well, if I had all the same memories and everything, then probably, right? It'd be something to get used to. It would definitely change me over time, but it'd still be me, I think. Okay, well, what if the memories were then altered, right? If all that I am is in my personality is my semblance of experiences and memories, what if I couldn't even trust them anymore, right? The garbage men, they've been mind-jacked, essentially, right? And given false memories. So one, their shell is being controlled by somebody else. Already pretty scary because, you know, we're eroding at that connection between ghost and shell more and more and more. And two, the ghost itself has been altered. I think, therefore I am. Well, am I thinking? Or is somebody else doing the thinking for me? Is thinking just a byproduct of, you know, the system that we're in? I brought up, like, bodily functions as thoughts before, right? Like, my brain tells my heart to beat or whatever, right? Or my brain sends electrical impulses to make me do this kind of shit. Like, what if that's all just part of the simulation too? What if there's some higher power already pre-programming and destinying all this shit that I am to make this video right now that you're watching? How much autonomy do I have in any of that? And again, we don't really have the answers. It's very much like, you know, like a mirror that I'm looking into, potentially a black mirror, muddy, you know, but you focus on it for a long time, you scry into it. It's very cool. The last one to consider when talking about this as well would be Project 2501 themselves. I'm talking about them within the body. So first things first here is that they don't have a brain per se, or the original brain that was in here or whatever. It's long gone. It's merely just a shell. So there's no human thing here at all. What we explain is that Project 2501, through their experiences, like me and my memories, have created an essence, right? A human essence, a consciousness. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, so now the ghost is like fake, kinda, a little bit. So it's like a blue ghost, fake ghost, sure. But that shell's still real. So how, like, legitimate are you? Because it is, that would be very similar to Kusanagi. It's just that... I go down here. Who is Kusanagi? We don't really talk about that here, but, like... Were you a human that just got altered and altered and altered and altered to the point where you are what you are now? Like Ship of Theseus type stuff, right? At that point, what is the tangible difference between Project 2501, who gathered this experience on the net, and you who gathered it in real life? Is there a higher power that deems, you know, the human body more sacred than this thing made over the internet or whatnot? Or should we take a more broad view and consider it as just two different lived experiences from two different sides of, like, society almost, right? That's why we get a lot of this mirror symbolism too, right? When we're diving. This kind of stuff. You know, if one of you is Project 2501 and one of you is Kusanagi, then you got the same kind of thing going on. You kind of merge and unite by the very end, then all I'm saying, just putting it out there, doesn't seem that dissimilar to me. So yeah, it kind of considers Descartes' I think, therefore I am, and then kind of shatters it by thinking about, you know, within that piece of philosophy, what is I and what is thinking? It kind of deconstructs both there in a cool way. And yeah, the ending is very much Ship of Theseus coded as well. Because if, you know, we have Kusanagi considering all this stuff through the runtime and getting less and less sure of herself as, you know, times go on. You know, this kind of revelation here definitely shatters her a little bit. Definitely thinking into, like, diving, into, you know, seeing that other copy, into hearing the words of Project 2501. Like, all of that is just eroding her confidence in all of this over time. Because she's like, I'm just a brain now. It's just the ghost up here. The shell, it's entirely government property. If I was to quit, I can't quit my job because the government owns my fucking body, which is kind of scary too. Like, hey, my ghost is that last board on the Ship of Theseus. And again, you lose at least the original version of that ghost by the very end through merging with another person, or Project 2501, depending on your, you know, the specifics there. That's where I really love the decision to change up the voice as well. It's a different, I don't know if it's a different voice actor, but it's a different piece of voice direction for sure, now that you are in this new form, in this new shell. It was something about the intonation and the tone in the voice. It's just not quite the Kusanagi we're used to. So yeah, to bring full circle on it, by the very end, she is not the same ship anymore. You know, it's kind of completing the Ship of Theseus type idea. Now, who was the voice on the boat? Speaking about boats, speaking about ships, we both hear a voice, both Bato and Kusanagi on this boat, right? And we're like, huh, did you say that? Did you say that? Like, we both don't know where it came from. I've learnt in my research what they say here is also part of a Bible verse that comes back at the very end. We complete that Bible verse, Kusanagi, during the climax of the film, during that ending scene with Bato. To me, this speaks to an unknowable right now. I'm not currently on the right plane of existence to fully consider this idea. Like, I know that there's something beyond my current, you know, vision, but I can't perceive it right now. Here, taking on the voice of Kusanagi as well, it's almost like her conscience is speaking outward. Like, you know, something deep within her that she doesn't even know about. And yeah, it's clarity by the very end. We have ascended. We've almost become as gods as well. You know, I'd throw in a near reference in there somewhere, hence the angel symbolism here too. Got a big old tree of life too, another thing we're pulling from Angel's Egg. Lots and lots of good symbolism here. So yeah, I think the voice on the boat is part of her, and also maybe the puppet master too, that is urging them to ascend, essentially, right? Like, your purpose is bigger than this. Go even further beyond. And it happening in that diving scene, again, diving, it's also diving into somebody's consciousness, which is something you can do in this world, as well as literally diving, all the stuff about the water surface and the precipice, all the mirror imaging there, even using water as like meditation and reflection upon that. It's just lots of ways you can go with it. It's very, very broad. I'm right here, who is Kusanagi? So again, we know who she is. She is a major. She has a role in Section 9. She is to keep the peace. She is a puppet of the state, essentially. Like, hey, we need something done. We need somebody assassinated. Let's get the major on it. But before that, what are the origins there? You know, does she have any relationships outside of work? Does she do anything? Or does she, like a robot, does she just like shut down and go to sleep or something? I'm asking all these questions because the film doesn't tell me, and it's very purposeful in not telling me. Once I've almost been shredded of my original shell, so much of my past and everything goes along with it. It's great that I still have my ghost, but do I? In this world we have separated ghost and shell, but is that something we should do? Does that erode something core to the human experience to the point where Kusanagi ends up as this human weapon, essentially. I don't know. It's all very navel-gazy. It's all very much like I'm rhetorical questioning. I don't know. It is what you make of it, I guess. And without any further expansion upon it in the rest of the franchise, I'm kind of just left being like, huh, thought-provoking, you know? But what I will say is that, okay, doesn't matter who she was in the past, I see her characterization in this film, and she has fundamentally changed by the very end, seeming more confident and assured, most certainly. Just kind of like a facsimile of human, almost, with the current show going on. It's definitely a stopgap, you would say. But again, we've grown up into ourselves a lot more, you know? She had to fight to get there, but, you know, we've gone a little bit, we've gone somewhere different, for sure. I wanted to take time here as well to reflect on some of the questions posed by Project 2501 themselves. What does make us human? What are the things that unite us, you know, between time and cultures and geography and history and everything, right? We all die. Nobody's ever been immortal as far as I know. The dance macabre, of course, we went into that recently on the channel. You know, between the kings and the peasants and every strata of social class, we are all united in death. It is the thing that happens to all of us, no matter, we can't prevent it, essentially. So if you have an AI, right, that has gained sentience and wants to ascend to humanity, and potentially even beyond it, what is something that they need to be able to do? Die. And die not on their own terms as well, for death to come to them unexpectedly. So human isn't like a rock either. Like, a rock's gonna sit there for millions of years if you just sit a rock somewhere. It may erode based on forces and whatnot, but, you know, you can't leave a human sitting still right here and nobody else, you know, killing me. And I'm not just gonna stay alive. I'm gonna die. Old age is gonna catch up with me. There's going to be degradation of cells and all that kind of nonsense. Something will get me eventually. For sure, for sure. So it's not just death simply, because I could delete this program and that would be its death. It needs to be death that is assured, but I don't know when or how or the method or anything like that. What is another aspect of humanity? That would be unity, that would be community, that would be union, just a matter of gender and reproduction. There's gonna... two people or more are gonna need to talk it out at some point and have a rapport. It's a core tenet of humanity, and again, talks to the unification of the major and Project 2501 by the very end. And yeah, reproduction through combination, as we say here too. Hey, as an AI, I can surely, again, just make infinite copies of myself and take over the world. Think something like, I have no mouth and I must scream. I think that's what AM ends up doing for the world to end up the way it is. And you could argue, and again, this is off topic, but you could argue in I have no mouth and I must scream that AM's tendencies are also very human. It's like they want to get revenge, which is very emotional. It's a very human quality, and they're very sassy too. Anyway, that's another video entirely. I don't know. It seems that Project 2501 believes in all these tenets and finds that a unification with somebody that is quote unquote human will lead them to some kind of ascension, or at least closer to being human and considered on that same level. This is a small note as well, and probably should have brought it up earlier in my pacing, but back up here where I'm like, you know, can I consider my own thoughts as me? Well, my own thoughts are my eyes, which is my experience. Can I even believe my own eyes? The idea of camouflage and, you know, people literally blending into nothingness. It's a pretty common thing in the film for you to just disappear and become invisible. It ties into the theme of memory manipulation very well over here. You know, what? Oh yeah, you thought I was there. What if I wasn't? What if your eyes deceived you? Same theme coming back when old mate sneaks in as well, and we're tracking down that Section 6 guy. Again, just works well with the rest of the themes present. Now, cyberpunk. I thought this thing was a bit more cyberpunk than it ended up being. It was a bit more procedural. We weren't really making as much social commentary, because that's the punk in cyberpunk. It's like the, you know, anti-capitalist stuff. Think about, again, Cyberpunk 2077 as, you know, a little bit of a blueprint there. Late stage capitalism is definitely in the firing line in that IP. And it's not here for sure. The erosion of our sense of self through homogenization and, you know, ultimately focus on brands and whatnot. Huge skyscrapers plastered with the logos of companies rising up over us. It's present. Human beings down below just trying to make ends meet is, again, There's different stratas of social influence and whatnot. You have like, this lost town over here that's just been discarded and thrown away, not reused in any way. That's getting a little bit critical. Various signs for things just kind of permeating into view here and there. Literal like advertisements following you around. Like it's all got a lens to the critical, you would say, without it becoming as overt as, say, a Cyberpunk 2077 or like a Blade Runner or whatnot. It's more just using it for a setting, a backdrop, to talk a little bit more about philosophy. Next up here, I write foreign influence. This is a theme within the narrative quite a bit. We open on a scene with somebody trying to defect to another country. Sure, yes, we have Japan existing in this new port city type idea, but I believe that there is different sections. That's what Section 9 and Section 6 are and stuff. They're different jurisdictions over parts of the city and whatnot, I think. So, of course, that seems to be a homogenization and an erosion of history if we're taking away the names of all these places as well. It's not, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne that have, history attached into them. It's, Section 1, 2, and 3, this quota and this part of the, it's all very dehumanizing. And either way, with these leaps and bounds in cybernetics and whatnot, you have different nations kind of trying to come into different places and stick their fingers in there, and it's not all very segregated. It's like, again, when we see like these cityscapes, like here, there's English, there's Chinese, Japanese, Korean, every other language. I think I saw some Cyrillic in there as well. Like, it's a melting pot, it's a mixture, it's chaotic, right? I think this general theme of foreign influence also speaks to the foreign influence of technology into ourselves, right? Of this foreign thing that is not the same as us, kind of invading our own space, being the human body. It just all works to be very thematically consistent. There's a little bit of like, paranoia there too of, okay, is something different? I can scale buildings and jump wherever I want now, but is there a give and take here? What happens on the other end? This is another fun point. Love the choice to use explosives and firearms with bullets as opposed to lasers. Now, in my research, I learned that they went to Guam to actually shoot guns at a range and take a bunch of pictures and stuff, and really wanted the almost like espionage nature of it to seem realistic, to seem lived in. It doesn't pull any punches with the action either. It is gratuitously violent in spots. A large focus on human, muscle tissue and stuff, and how that can be ripped apart. There's a part here very early on where old mate's brain gets kind of eviscerated too. Yeah, a bit of frame by frame here maybe. Yeah, look at this. This is gonna go crazy. Oh my god, that's nasty, man. It wants to confront the viewer. It wants to be like, okay, well, shit. This is what the inside of you is now going to look like if you take all these cybernetic enhancements and stuff. If technology gets to this point, yes, there will also be a weapon that somebody could shoot in your head and it will just pop and explode. It's not clean. It's not a precision laser tool. It is bloody and violent. This is like the death throes of humanity as a concept. It is something that you should be concerned about. And again, posing the question here too of like, okay, well, she's all cyber, this guy is not, and he loses. There is a, tangible right answer here, and it is to, get a bunch of enhancements, to be cybernetically enhanced. You want to be better, right? We're in a very competitive world, and you got to do stuff like that. Like, there's nothing clean about this scene where we're shooting at everybody too. Like, it's dirty and nasty, and, it takes place in a museum, which is great too. Such a look to the past there. And yeah, we're taking chunks out of stuff. This transition point, this ascension, it's not going to be a walk in the park. I've kind of talked about the water's surface quite a bit as well, but just think about whenever you've gone swimming, when you're below the surface and everything's all a little bit muddled and, not right, and you look up and you see a light and you kind of go towards it, and once you come out, it's this like, it's like this deep breath, it's like this clarity. I think this is what happens with Kusanagi when she kind of gets into this new body. It starts off, it's a little bit blurry, it's not quite right, and then she comes up for air and she's like, oh, this is what I've been missing the entire time almost. As well as that, it's the location of the city. It's on this precipice point near the ocean as well. It itself is almost like coming up for air. like almost symbolically, especially if we're basing it off Hong Kong, which I talk about a little bit later as well. Like the city itself almost feels like a metaphor for Kusanagi, which is again why we end on this kind of like bright lit shot of, you know, the rest of the city, right? You know, where will I go? I have emerged from the surface. It's like the city has come up, almost like Atlantis or something, up out of the water. That's what it almost feels like to me. And again, tying that all in with this scene here, very obviously, and just the nature of diving in general, like Project 2501 and Kusanagi dived in together and then came back up out, a different thing. The Puppet Master, when, you know, diving into various other people, gaining all this experience and knowledge, like, you know, it's all linked, you know. Okay, where was I? I had to leave for a second. Okay, I'm back. For a film where you see a naked woman constantly, film's like sexless. I don't know, to me this feels like a commentary on how kind of like passionless this society is, almost, you know. The only thing that you could see to like a real genuine tender moment is Subverted, right? Where this guy's like, oh, I'm doing this job for my wife and child. You know, that wife and child that don't even exist anymore, or never did, and there's no any more about it. I just think that's pretty interesting. Probably speaks to some kind of overexposure as well, like nobody here is even reacting to women being naked. It's all very professional and procedural and stuff. Very mature in that way for sure, too. But almost like we've almost gone beyond the need for, like, you know, titillation per se. Like society itself, and I guess the eye of the film, the kind of lens there that we're seeing it through, has like gone beyond what is traditional, and, you know, seeing somebody you find attractive and, you know, there being a response there. We're closer to, you know, Project 2501, closer to an AI that is simply just reproducing by ourselves without any need for this kind of unity. It's a breaking down of what is traditional, essentially. That's what it feels like. I think it's interesting to pose the question of what does Bato feel towards Kusanagi? Because it's clearly like something, you would say, right? Are they partners? Are they friends? Are they work acquaintances? Is there something more there? Has their closeness almost eroded the chance for there to ever be anything more? You know, with the two of them being as cybernetic as they are, what does any more even mean? We say that, you know, your whole body is cybernetic. Can you even have children? Is that something that you're interested in at all? The quote-unquote biological function of your shell. Just again, another thing to pontificate, it feels like. And in a similar kind of arena, I feel like we're, you know, this film breaks down a lot of gender barriers as well. Like just the character of Kusanagi as well. Very, you know, forthright, masculine leaning traditionally. She doesn't feel very feminine, I wouldn't say that. Definitely got a bit of a jawline going on too. Her short haircut, you could argue, is androgynous as well, which again feels like interpretation almost for this adaptation, because that's not the way I understand the manga, which is a lot more expressive and even cutesy in spots. I think the number one, you know, thing going on here with this point is probably Project 2501. We have the form of a blonde female, the body there to go along with it, but the voice coming out is masculine, right? By the very end here, it's like this merge is already beginning and we're breaking down these barriers more and more and more, with Project 2501's voice now coming out of Kusanagi's body. Like, I don't know, it may just be on the brain for whatever reason, but it definitely made me think about stuff like that. A non-conformity to normal gender roles and expectations. Most notably, again, the Wachowskis have always argued that The Matrix is a little bit of a trans allegory too, so if they're taking a lot of inspiration here, potentially that's part of it as well. I'm not saying it gave them the idea to make it about that probably came from their own personal experiences as well. But once again, pontification is interesting to think about. The last point I wanted to really zero in on here is the spider robot tank at the end. I just felt in a lot of the framing it looked like a mother animal almost protecting a child. Like this car being the child that is housing Project 2501. It almost feels like, you know, Kusanagi pushed to the limit is needing to murder mom here with the help of Bato to get to the child to, you know, reintegrate and whatnot, to bring it away from whatever other purpose it had from its creator to whatever new purpose it wants. We're both gaining kind of own individuality here. Like Project 2501 is divorcing themselves from Section 6 in their original origins, where Kusanagi divorcing themselves from Section 9 and all that stuff going on there. We're defying our respective masters. It's a lot of, mother dies, child on its own type idea there. Might be with the mech design, you also kind of see that it has like almost eyes. We're trying to give it a little bit of something. Like, again, it's it's Kusanagi over here who's a weapon, quote unquote, and then like a literal weapon over here. It's like this battle between the two. I don't know, again, it's a big part of it for sure. I don't know, man. Hopefully a lot of that was enough ideas talk. And we do go into a few more here, but it's a lot more based around the production stuff. This is not even scratching the surface either. There's a lot going on in this script, in the ideas section, that I didn't even touch on. Normally in these movie videos as well, I'd have a section here about characters. I don't feel like that's particularly fruitful with the way the movie is structured. It doesn't really have traditional characters and traditional arcs in the way that you would expect. Kusanagi definitely grows through the runtime. I would argue that she is close on the only one that grows. Maybe the director guy, he certainly learns things and will be more suspicious in the future. Vato doesn't really change. I guess he's just kind of there with Kusanagi when she's learning things about herself as well, so... So yeah, the movie doesn't really have characters, but I also feel like we're trying to say something with that in this world, in, this Ghost in the Shell universe. It's very hard to have individuality. Like, conformity and unity is definitely all on the agenda. It's very hard to stand out and express yourself when faced with the monolith, when faced with the everything of this Newport City. Next up here, animation. I thought that the film overall was stunning looking. Especially for the time, this is one of the better syntheses of CG effects and traditional cell animation that I have seen. And there's loads of examples. Even from the very opening of the film, a lot of this stuff is just really, really sick for the time. Just great use of CG and the rotating effects and everything going along with it. And it's all about the layers, man. It's, this layer of the background, then this layer, then this layer. It gives a real depth to the frame, a real cinematic quality, but still really retains that original cell animation look that we come to really like about this stuff, pre-2000. Like, if you just want to see cool, like, dystopian cyber future cities, this is a good place to start looking, right? I was reading a little bit into production as well. It's not like a super production like something like Akira as well, which obviously still looks incredible, but had like, a ton of money into Akira. One of the most expensive films ever made at the time. I feel like we're achieving similar results here with lesser of a budget. And time constraints too, man. Like, these guys are crazy. They're crazy good at their jobs. Alright, I'll be here for days if we're talking about all these mannequins as well. This is probably, Megacorp or whatever they were called, where we get all the bodies. Yeah. See what I mean? I could just tap through this movie for ages and just look at various different things. But yeah, another really good spot with the CG blending would be all the camouflage effects. Again, the most famous example being right here, of course. Like, that's just really cool. At some points, this seems like, that's actually painted on, it feels, onto the background. But the transition point between the two, if I can play a little bit. Yeah. No, it's still like moving underneath too. No, this is there's a computer effect. Okay, cool, very cool. This last fight here is awesome in this regard too. Like, yeah, character animation too. Holy shit. Yeah. This almost feels like Promethean almost or something. Like, it's makes you feel like a caveman or something. It's crazy. I've kind of talked about the viscerality of the fights previously as well. A lot of limbs getting pulled and pushed in weird ways. Flesh being treated as disposable. It's all tied up there in the theming, obviously. And yeah, I've talked a bit about the layering on the backgrounds already as well. You want the world to seem dense and unfathomably large, insurmountable. I think the best one for this is when we're doing a lot of the helicopter stuff. Yeah, something like that even. Just, layer, and then you see it in motion. Yeah. See what I mean? Depth. And, I can't defeat this. I need to change myself if I am to overcome this type of thing. Like man versus environment type ideas getting across there in the backgrounds. This is what it makes me think of anyway. Next up, character design and art, specifically Kusanagi, more mature and serious compared to their manga counterparts. This overall goes along with some of the other changes that they've made. It's gratuitously violent. It's very self-serious. There's not a lot of jokes or laughter to be had here. It all just fits with the film that they want to make with the source material. I will say some of the side characters are a little bit same-faced, making it hard to follow on a first watch. Like, do these two guys here look fundamentally that different from one another and that different from the next guy that we find and start fighting over here? Not really. Does this guy look a little bit too similar to, you know, the other guy later, like this guy that is hiding underneath the thing? Or like even that guy, for an example. They're all a bit the same, you know? I don't know. A few more differentiations there would make it easier to follow for mine. Here's where I want to talk about the setting as well. It is based on Hong Kong. Saw specific allusions towards Kowloon Walled City in Hong Kong as well. Especially again, and I keep going back to it, this Wanda section. It's the mix between the old and the new, the traditional and the technology. It's the density of it as well. It feels like we're at our breaking point, that there needs to be a circuit breaker of sorts, which does again end up happening by the end of the narrative here. The density of the market scene earlier as well also did make me think of it. A lot of signs in Hong Kong as well, definitely that being brought in. I think Hong Kong as a city is also a great metaphor too. Again, traditional and futuristic at the same time. A city littered with foreign influences. Basically its legacy. Feels like it's being pulled in two directions between obviously the Chinese side and the foreign influence there. Chaos, definitely. 2019, definitely. Again, we've talked about the themes at length now. I'm sure you can see how this is all involved. It is also another city by the water. Also definitely got some Eastern Europe and Soviet vibes as well. A lot of uniformity with the buildings, bit of brutalism in the architecture. And the hustle and bustle as well of it all just feels, you know, a little bit that way inclined, just in spots. There's a certain scene which really reminds me of it, but I digress. I mustn't be seeing it very well. Maybe some of this stuff, but even then, that feels very Hong Kong. Maybe it's a lot of the fashion design rather, where again this is, you know, very wintry and whatnot. Feels a little bit more Soviet. Like Bato is just a character design, like. You could tell me that he's Russian, I would believe you. This is another good scene for it as well. Stunning shots by the river, by the ocean, by bodies of water. When you come out and emerge here past all that kind of advertising, you know, wonderful. Such a good shot. It's so good. And again, this scene here working to disassociate Kusanagi from the human side. Like, she doesn't make the splashes or anything. She's that far removed. Maybe even tying in with some of the religious stuff we have going on as well with, you know, I can walk on water, I've ascended, I'm fucking Jesus Christ type areas. It just all intertwines to make the whole film, the whole picture feel very cohesive. I've spoken about the last shot of the film as well, the wide kind of vista that we end up seeing. Like, it feels like we can take on the world, feels very open world game almost. Movement into a new age, even again these roads as networks, you know, going to a larger whole. It feels like we're all connected almost. Like the roads, like the connections in our body, like the connections between us online, some of the lane stuff in there too, power lines. Yeah, it's all there. It's all tying up into it. Next up, the music, and I have quite a bit to say here actually. I normally just say, yeah, music's good, because talking about music's very hard. But here the music is definitely given enough space and time to shine in the edit. I'm gonna keep fucking banging on about it. Scenes like this, you just kind of hear the music. Has lyrics apparently too, which I didn't get to see. But yeah, allows you to reflect on the music, reflect on what the music's trying to get at, and again, the themes of the film. It provokes thought. Another one here would be a lot of this travel stuff when we're making our way to the climax too. Very methodical, and the music doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. Also thought the musical choice during this fight here, it's not like this, you know, throbbing bass type thing. It's not like an action piece of music. It is calm. It is really synthy. It feels very Blade Runner. Thought it was another fantastic choice. This feels, there's an inevitability to it, and almost like a lack of victory tied up in it. It's not that like hard in your mouth tension. in the same way, because it doesn't want to give you those same really basic protagonistic feelings. In the music, you'll see a blend of traditional instrumentation as well as synthetic elements, great metaphor for the cyborg stuff going on in the film, the cybernetic implants. So music exists as we know it, little, string number, guitar or something, a little bit of percussion here and there. What if we started to integrate this newer stuff into it more and more and more? That's kind of what it feels like. I think this song here during the opening credits is the best example of it, with again almost those chorus of vocals coming through. There's also a scene, I forget where it was, but there was a lot of guitar under it. And I did mention Blade Runner in the reaction. I think it's very similar to the Vangelis score there. Shinto bells also present. I thought it gave a religious and ceremonial feel to some of the music too, tying in with a lot of the Christian stuff that we've been talking about already. Shinto specifically talks to kami and spirits and all that other kind of stuff. Ghosts in shells, potentially. I feel like it fits quite a bit. Almost spirits given to objects, possessively. If that doesn't tie into the themes, then I don't really know what else does. I thought it was a nice touch. The chorus vocals used, as I've mentioned previously, give the feeling of the themes at play here: universality, conformity. Like, it feels like almost on a human level, anybody could see the things at play here and think about how they affect themselves. That, these kind of themes of philosophy have resonated for so very long. There's a reason for that, basically. I saw this on Wikipedia. Sarah Pennicker Smith notes the similarities of the music to traditional wedding songs, even, between various cultures around the world, may speak to the union between Project 2501 and Kusanagi. There's definitely wedding referenced in the lyrics here during this segment as well. Proposing marriage, the gods shall descend. It almost writes itself towards that kind of climax scene there. And I'll lump sound in here as well. Great sound mixing on this thing. When we're talking, like you would talk, like me and you would talk with our mouths, it sounds different to talking over the neural network, or talking over radio, or talking over call. Just mixed well, you would say. Even the start of the film's a great example with this as well. All those kind of various call-outs kind of going over each other, various languages as well. Chaos, it's all mixed quite spectacularly. I will say the film's very quiet because I mixed the picture-in-picture version and I needed to up it a fair bit, so maybe it's just my copy. Any criticisms? I've kind of been through a few of them. I wish it was a little bit more traditionally structured in spots. It's not particularly funny or characterful, but once again, I'm not sure that was their intention. It's just something that I generally like in a film, if there is some moments of levity to break up things. I'd say that the second half in this aspect is stronger than the first. I think we have strong scenes. I like this, and I like a lot of the build, but some of it is just watching them pick up garbage. Some of the stuff here was just kind of proper noun soup for me. I didn't really like that elevator scene there at all. And again, after that point, I think the dive scene's really good, and I think this wandering scene is kind of like an intermission or midpoint's really strong, but I think the bulk of the really good stuff happens after we find the robot body of Project 2501. And even if you wanted to break it down into quarters, I think the last quadrant is where all the good shit happens. Like that conversation here between these two as they're lying down in the museum on top of the robot. It's all the meaning mixed in there and what they're talking about. I loved it. My eyes were glued to the screen. So yeah, if my criticism is just that it gets really good towards the end, then I'm not sure that's much of a criticism either. The subs that I used were not good. That's not the film's fault. I should have used the other subs. Hand up, that's okay. Rounding us out here, would I recommend the film? Yes, a massive recommendation. You should watch this as early as possible considering how formative it is. So say somebody's just getting into anime and already has some experience with, cinema, like actual movies, then I would recommend them Ghost in the Shell, because it's cool. And it'll also, create a baseline for you for a bunch of other things. So yeah, and if you like anime, there's a lot here just to like as well. It's a well put together film. It's, well directed, well shot. The animation's great. Like, if you're already in, then you should watch it. But I think more than anime fan, it is for sci-fi fans. If you like this heady philosophical stuff, then go forth. This is your bag, man. I think if you like something like Akira as well, you'll feel similarly about this. I think Akira, in comparison, is more visually impressive for sure, but maybe feels a little bit overstuffed. Again, they're trying to put a lot of manga into a short movie there. I would say they're both operating in similar spaces and, similar praise in my view. I group them together quite a bit. If I had to put a score on it, strong 4 stars, I would say. Strong 8. A strong 8 out of 10. Just in general, again, like my favorite anime is K-On! I'm a little bit more drawn to character. And in a film that is, it's not the priority there, I do struggle sometimes. Like, I'm not putting on Ghost in the Shell when I've had a bad day, I guess. But again, that's not its purpose either. I don't know, I liked it, I thought it was really good. And most certainly, above all else, extremely influential. Now, that was pretty rambly. Hopefully I made some semblance of sense. That'd be nice. And yeah, very broad, so I'm ready for other people's interpretations as well. Please comment below, I'd love to read them. And yeah, what do we think? Do we think we pursue Innocence as that second film? Do we think we pursue Standalone Complex at some point as well? Please let me know. I'm all ears. Either way, that'll do it for now. Like the video, subscribe. Patreon if you want to be that 1 week ahead, of course. Ping Pong and Musume at the moment, don't forget, as well as next week's movies, so check that out at your leisure. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Ciao. Goodbye.